Shrinnantu vishve amritasya putraha आये धमानि दिव्यानि तस्तु वेदाहमेतं पुरुषं महान्तं आदित्यवर्णं तमसा परस्तां त्वमेव विदित्वति मृत्युमेति नैन्यपन्था विद्यते अनाय नैन्यपन्था यनाय विद्यते. Here, O children of immortal bliss, listen, those who live in the celestial abode. I have seen that effulgent one who is beyond darkness. Knowing him alone, one can transcend death. There is no other way, there is no other way. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. This morning our subject is dialogue with death. Not bad. Today is Easter Sunday. We are observing the Easter service. Easter is considered to be the holiest of all holidays in Christendom. As you know, Christ was crucified on Friday. People call it Good Friday. How good it is, we don't know. And he resurrected on Sunday morning. Before crucifixion, Christ said, I will be risen on the third day. Resurrection, with its promise of immortality of the soul, was formally accepted as the principal dogma of Christianity, and it was incorporated in Nicene Creed in 325 AD. There is a famous writer who made a remark that without resurrection, Christ would be a great teacher, no doubt. But there would be no Christian religion. You see, the doctrine and dogma and the creed of Christianity is deeply connected with virgin birth and resurrection. These are the very, very important things in Christian religion. When we think about Easter, the few thoughts first come to our minds. Crucifixion, resurrection, conquest of death, means eternal life, and self-sacrifice. Self-sacrifice. I remember when I first joined the monastery, a monk explained to me the meaning of the cross, the crucifixion. He told me, do you know what is the inner significance of that symbol cross? Cut your ego, chop off your ego. If you want to realize God, remove your ego. That is the inner significance of the symbol of crucifixion. I remember Easter in Hollywood. It's a big function. One Hollywood actress would paint some hard-boiled egg and put the name of all monks and nuns and put them all around the Vedanta place and the garden and everywhere. Every monk or nun has a name on the egg and you just pick it up. Early in the morning, before sunrise, there was a sunrise service in Hollywood Bowl, which is very close to our Vedanta temple in Hollywood. We could hear the music. Thousands of people would flock to attend that sunrise service in Hollywood Bowl. You see, most people nowadays do not go to the churches, but on special occasions like Christmas, like Easter, millions and millions of people go to the churches and they pray. And that is the way they make that day very important, special, virtuous, spiritual. This Easter is connected with the spring festival. Colored eggs, bunny rabbits, hot cross buns, Easter parades, sunrise service have no logical connection with Christ. There is no indication of the observance of the Easter festival in the New Testament or in the writings of the apostolic fathers. When we read the Bible, New Testament, there is nothing mentioned about Easter. According to Christian theologians, Jesus Christ sacrificed his life for the salvation of sinners. Now the question arose, how can anybody attain salvation by the death of another, be he an angel or God himself? What Jesus said, that is true. I am the way. Follow me. I read Thomas A. Kempis' Imitation of Christ. That book is demonstration of humility, how a true Christian should be humble, full of devotion and full of humility. If you really want to imitate Christ, you face your ego. That is the way I understand Easter. Sunrise service. Even that kind of tradition also we have. The Hindus, when they see the rising sun, they repeat the mantra to the sun god. Jabakusham sankasham kashyapeyam mahadutim dantvaring sarva papagnam punatausme divakaram. I bow down to the sun god, who removes all darkness, who removes all sin. There are so many connections between the traditions of one religion to the other. Death is this certain thing in this uncertain world. In the Banaparvam of the Mahabharata, Yaksha asked Yudhishthira, what is wonder? Yudhishthira replied, ahani ahani bhutani gachanti yamamandiram shesha sthiramichanti kimasyajya mataparam. Every day we find people around us die. Really they die. But we never think that we shall ever die. That is wonder. It is a miracle that we are alive in this world. I remember one doctor with his family went to Hawaii for vacation. And they are swimming. His daughter was taken away by the current. He jumped and saved the daughter. But the undercurrent took him and threw his body on the shore, dead. Within few minutes, I conducted his memorial service here. Just with a few minutes, he saved his daughter, but he died by that water current. How human life is so transient, temporary. And we are so proud. Then Jaksha asked 4 questions. Second question, Varta ki, what is the news? Yudhishthira replied, the all devouring time is cooking all beings in this big cauldron. The sun is the fire. Day and night are the fuel. Month or season are the ladle. This is the news. In the Gita also we find Krishna says, Kaloshmi lokokshayokrit. I am that Kala, time, all devouring time. Lokokshayokrit. This time I shall destroy all human beings in that Kurukshetra war. The third question, Jaksha asked, what is the way? What is the path? Yudhishthira replied, scriptures are many. Sages are many. Their opinions are many. But the true religion is hidden in the inside, in the heart. Follow, tread the path of the great souls. That is the path. Who is happy? The person who has no debt, no credit card. That person may be poor, eats 1 meal a day with rice and spinach, but he has no debt. He sleeps happily, gets up happily. In this Triparvam of the Mahabharata, after the war, Vidura was consoling the bereaving Dhritarashtra, the king, the blind king. That verse is very, very famous. Sarve kshayanta nichayaha patananta samushrayaha sangyoga viprayoganta maranantam chabdi jivitam. After you accumulate something, then those things will go away, decay. After rise, there is a fall. After union, there is separation. After life, there is death. These are inevitable. So do not cry. Death has no friends, no enemy. Death is even to each and all. Do not grieve, O king. I shall tell you, say a very interesting story, the birth of death. When did the death was born? When did it born? That also we find in the Shanti Parvam of the Mahabharata. When Yudhishthira asked, Bhishma replied, O king, let me tell you the birth of death. The creator, Brahma, was creating the whole earth was overpopulated and human beings were behaving badly. They're killing each other and there is so much chaos. So the Mother Earth could not bear the burden of these human beings. So she went to the Creator, Brahma, and said, Lord, I cannot carry all these beings which you have created on me and put on me. Please do something. Brahma was meditating and was thinking the solution. He could not find the solution. Then he became very angry. And from his anger came fire. And all the human beings began to burn, began to die. So they went to Lord Shiva for protection. Shiva came to Brahma and said, "O Brahma, the people who are burned, they will never be born again. You are destroying your own creation, which is not right." Then Brahma says, "I could not find the solution. How can I tackle this problem?" The Mother Earth came and complained that she cannot carry human beings anymore. So I'll have to do something. Then Shiva gave a very good suggestion. Why don't you recycle the human beings? Let some die and then they will be born. Die and born. Then there will not be too much burden in this earth. Recycling process, you see. We see sometimes our city people carry our recycle bin, all aluminium, paper, all these things will be recycled. Same thing is coming again and again. So why don't you recycle these human beings? Brahma said that is a good suggestion. So he meditated. When he meditated, then a being came out from his body, a dark, a female form. Her name was Mrityu, death. Brahma says, "Mrityu, now you go and kill these people." Death says, "Lord, no, I can't do that. These people are innocent, they did not do any harm to me, how can I kill these people? I cannot do that. Then moreover, they will curse me." So Mrityu started to meditate. Then after many years, Brahma said, I have found the solution." What was the solution? When you are crying for human beings, tears came from your eyes. Those tears are the disease. So I shall send the disease among human beings, and they will die. You see, disease comes from the karma. So the law of karma will be very active, doctrine of karma. The Hindus have all kinds of stories. Anyhow, what happened, well, some people will die from their karma, again they will be born, again they will die, again they will be born. I sometimes make a joke. And if you want to die, you need a death, you need a disease. You are a healthy person, you will not die. Anyhow, so that is the way the birth of death, recycling. Human beings will be born and human beings will die. Importance of death. If there is no death, think of that. The whole world will be full of old people. Old men, old women, 100, 200, 300 years old. In the Old Testament, there is a mention of Methuselah. He lived 967 years. I don't know how his teeth and eyes, all those things are functioned. 967 years. Of course, in our Puranas also, some people live 1,000 years. All those stories are there. Anyhow, So what will happen if there is no death? This whole world, especially United States, will be full of hospitals, nursing homes. Oof. The Medicare, the government, US government will be bankrupt to, to support all these old people. We shall see a lot of old sick people around us. But I liked our May Kunj. She used to tell me, Swami, I am 94. This body is too old, has so many problems. I like to have a new body. I want to die. She was a brave woman. After breakfast, she was seated on a wheelchair, collapsed. Nice death. We do not mind to replace our old car. The car gives us trouble. But we mind if we replace our old body. We are so much attached to our bodies. This morning, do you know what I was thinking? We shall read that story, how we can separate the body from the Atman. Sri Ramakrishna gave a beautiful illustration. Here is a coconut. It dries up. So the inside, the kernel, becomes separated from the shell. So if you shake, you will hear that coconut, that inside coconut is moving. That is the Atman. And the shell is the body. So if you hit the shell, the inner, that coconut, that flesh, that it is not hurt. It does not get hurt. How to do it? Only through Samadhi. That we find in Sri Ramakrishna's life. How to separate? Krishna mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, Basamsi jinani yatha vihayo nabani grinnati naruparani tata vihar nabani vihar jinani annani sangyati nabani dehi. A person can give up the old now garment and puts on a new one. Similarly, Dehi, Jivatma, shuns, gives up the old body and puts on a new and takes a new body. That's a beautiful illustration. We say Gomishwati. We do not say Bhavishwati. Gomishwati means going. We do not see coming. We see the death. We do not see the birth. Every day, so many people are dying in this country, and so many people are born also in this country. Our problem, we think body is the Atman. Body is all, everything. A young man, later he became Dharmeshananda. He went to AIM and expressed his desire to be a monk. AIM says, before you be a monk, you go to a cremation ground and watch how the human beings are cremated. And report to me. And he did it 2 days, and well, this is the way you will learn renunciation. People will die. Who dies? Every day in our, sometimes I read in the obituary column in the New York Times, a list of important people, those who have died. In our local newspaper also, they put a funeral notices or obituary column. The people died in the city. People die. Vedanta says, this body dies. All human beings have 3 bodies. gross, subtle, causal. The gross body consists of 5 elements. Khiti, Op, Tej, Morud, Bam. Khiti means earth. Op means water. Tej means fire. Then air and the space. These are the 5 elements constitute all human bodies. These bodies are made of food. Annamaya Sharira, Annamaya Kosha. That is true. It is food. This body is nothing but food. Amazing. And what is the subtle body? Subtle body, according to Vedanta, consists of 17 limbs, 5 organs of knowledge, 5 organs of action, 5 pranas, and mind and intellect. These 17 limbs constitute the subtle body. The whole mystery in Vedanta is in that subtle body, which reincarnates. This subtle body. And then causal body is ignorance. The subtle body is the seed. Let me give an example, you will understand better. Peanut. Unroasted peanut, if you put in the ground, some sprouts will come and more peanut will come from the root. But if you roast that peanut and put under the ground and put all fertilizer and water, those peanuts will never germinate. Why? It demonstrates, you have destroyed its potency, its power. It will never germinate. It is burnt, it is dried. Similarly, the Jivatma, this subtle body, if it has desire, that rasha, the juice, it will produce next, millions of bodies, millions of lives. But if you destroy that desire through renunciation or devotion, that subtle body will be lost its potency, and it will never germinate. It will be liberated. You will be one with God. You will be one with Samadhi. That is the whole secret of the spiritual life. Vasana, Pushyati, Bapuhu. It is desire which preserves this human body. If you no desire, this body will not last. This body will not get chance to make another body. Whole mystery is in human desire. Jivatma leaves the gross body and departs with the subtle and causal body. Krishna mentioned in the Gita, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajattanti kalivaram tam tam daveveti kaunteya sadat tadbhava bhavitam. At the time of death, whatever thought comes to the person, to fulfill that thought, that desire, that soul takes next birth. Whole mystery is during the time of death. Well, let me do all my bad things, fulfill all my desires, and at the time of death I shall think of God. It will not work that way. Because your tendency, your mind will be predominant at that time. Whatever you have done in this life or whatever you love in this life, that bhava, that intention will be prevalent in your at the time of death. That is the reason Krishna told Arjuna, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mahamanusmara yuddhasha. Therefore, think of me all the time and fight. Fight in this world. That is a beautiful message. At the time of death, what will you think? Decide right now. Most people think about their money or dear ones, husband or wife and children, all these things they think. You decide who will think about God at the time of death. Patanjali mentions, Suti mule tad vipaku jati ayu bhoga. Who decides our longevity? Karma. In this life, whatever we do, that result fructify, bears fruit. Jati, where I shall be born. Ayu, how long shall we live? Bhoga, how much happiness and misery we shall encounter in that particular life. All depends upon our previous karma. That is the that truth has been experimented. How does a person die? The process of death has been clearly narrated in the Sharirak Brahman of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. King Janaka asked this question to sage Yajnavalkya, and Yajnavalkya answered. When the Jivatma has become weak, and loses consciousness, then what happens? Just before death, we lose our consciousness. This morning, do you know what I was thinking? I was thinking in my village, and we have a big mango tree. Many mangoes with a stem which is hanging in the tree. The raw mangoes will not fall. But if the mango is well ripe, automatically it breaks the stem and falls on the ground. Ripe fruit falls on the ground. So when this human life, is ripened, your body is ripe, it cannot go anymore. The intention, the desire you want to fulfill in this life, which is over. So at that time, that means your system is ripened up, it will now fall, like a ripened fruit. So when this Jivatma becomes unconscious, then all sense organs are withdrawn. The eyes goes to the heart. Well, can you see? No. Can you hear? No. Can you taste? No. Can you smell? No. Can you, in this way, if you ask you, then can you think? No. Can you recognize me? No. Do you know what does it mean? That means all the sense organs are withdrawing. It goes to the heart. And then, who shoots the Jivatma, that subtle body? You have seen in the Kennedy Center, in Space Kennedy Center in Florida, the huge space shuttle. Who shoots? That's a rocket. They have very powerful rocket. One after another, the rocket shoots and shoots and shoots and goes beyond the gravitation, then it goes to the sun, moon or Mars or wherever the NASA wants to send, it goes there. Rockets. What is the rocket in human body? Udan Vayu. Prana, Apana, Samana, Vyana, Udana. That Udan Vayu takes the subtle body and shoots. At that time it departs from the body. It may depart from various parts of the body. It may go out through the nose, through the eyes, various outlets of the human body. But the best part of the body, it goes through the Brahmaranda, the crown, the yogis, the illumined soul, their prana goes through that way. Well, Swami, how do you know all these things? Upanishad tells us. Well, are they telling the truth? Well, they are rishis, the sages, the seers of truth. They have no intention to cheat us or to expect any money from us. They saw which we cannot see. We do not see the other planets, but if you go to Leak Observatory or in Gelmar Observatory, I went there, 200 inches diameter that telescope. You can see, or through the microscope, you can see many small things. So the rishis, they have that third eye, the spiritual eye. They can see the unseen. They can know the unknown. That is why we know how a soul departs from this body. In the Gita and the Upanishad, these stories also we find in Chandogya Upanishad and some other Upanishads also. In the Gita also, Krishna mentioned there are two paths, the path of the light and the path of the smoke. It depends upon your karma. Path of the light. Then it will go to Brahma Loka, and from there you will go to, they call it Krama Mukti, gradual liberation. You have no more desire, so go there, stay in the Brahma Loka, and then you will merge into Brahman. And this is called Devojana, and this is called Pitrijana, the path of the smoke, the path of the ancestors. Manes, M-A-N-E-S. What does it do? It will go to Chandraloka. From there, all the jivas will come down to this earth. And then they will be born. How is a soul reborn? We know it. What is the message of the Easter? Eternal life. Christ says, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. And he who lives and believes in me shall never die. Here we find the Vedantic truth, the indestructibility of the soul. Atman does not die. The fire cannot burn it, water cannot wet it, the air cannot dry it. No weapon can catch it. Those are the beautiful mantras we find in the Gita and the Upanishads. Abhinashi, indestructible, is the Atman. If somebody says, I killed that person, he is wrong. If a person thinks I am killed, he is wrong. This Atma is the real, true nature of human beings. Atmanam Viddhi, know thyself. That Vedanta teaches. What is this Atma? Esha Atma, apahato papma, free from sin, free from ignorance, free from old age, disease, sickness, death, free from hunger and thirst. This Atman, you cannot grasp it. It is unattached. It is indestructible. This knowledge of the Atman only can help us to conquer death. Mrityu samrityum apnoti yahya nana eva pushyati. If you see nana, variety, multiplicity, diversity in this world, you will get death after death. But if you have experienced this Atman, tatra ko moha, ko shuka, ekattam anupashyata. You have no more moha, no delusion, no grief. If you see that oneness, that Atman, Brahman, in anything, everything, in every being. That is the goal of Vedanta. Swami Vivekananda made some remark. Life is the shadow of death, and death is the shadow of life. Death I have conquered when I gave up life. Expansion is life, contraction is death. He told Sister Nivedita, whenever death approaches me, all weakness vanishes. I simply busy myself making ready to die. That is the sign of a hero, Swamiji. I am preparing myself to die. How many people in this world think that way? Who is responsible for death? There is a beautiful story in the Anushasan Parva of the Mahabharata. The story goes, Gautami, a mother lost her son by snake bite. So Arjuna, a hunter, caught that snake and said, you are responsible for the death of this boy. Snake said, no, I am not responsible. It is the death who asked me to bite that boy. Then he went to the death. You are responsible for the death of this boy. Death said, no, I am not responsible. It is the Kala, the time is responsible. The time told me go and told the snake to bite it. Then he went to the Kala, the time. You are responsible for the death of this boy. Kala said, no way, I am not responsible. That boy's karma is responsible for his death. Do not blame anybody. That is a beautiful story. Dialogue with death. There are two beautiful dialogues of death we find, one in the Mahabharata, Savitri Sattvavan, another in the Kathopanishad, Nachiketa and Yama, that dialogue. That is in my mind to tell you. Let me see how much I can go. First, let me tell you the story of Savitri Sattvavan. There was a country named called Madra, and there is a king named Ashwapati. He lost his kingdom by his enemy, and he was blind. He had a son and wife. They went into the forest and living in an hermitage. Now, there is another country called Shalya, and they are Dumatshen. That is not Dumatshen. Shalya, that is Sattvavan. And then there is, I forgot that Shalya, the Dumatshen's son is Sattvavan, and he lost his kingdom and went to the forest. But Ashwapati, he was performing a sacrifice for sons. And from the Yajna, from the fire, came Mother Savitri and said, you will not get any son, you will get only one daughter. All right. So a daughter was born, her name was Savitri. So Savitri grew up, but she was so effulgent, so powerful, no man dared to marry her. So what happened? The father said, my sweet daughter, I could not find your husband, you find out yourself. So she went into the forest and found Shottavan, that blind king's son. They are very poor, living in that hermitage. And she fell in love with him. So she came back and told her father. In the meantime, Narada, great sage, came there and said, "My goodness, whom did you select?" "My goodness, he will die within 1 year. You now change your mind and find out another person." "No way. One decision, that is final. I shall marry him." So the king, her father, arranged the marriage. But he remembered, Narada said after 1 year he would die. So she was with her husband and taking care of the parents, her laws. The last day, Savitri counted, the last day came. She wanted to go with Shottavan to the forest to collect fruits and wood. Shottavan said, no, I go every day. Why do you want to come with me today? But no, today I shall go with you. So both went. Shottavan was cutting the woods. All of a sudden, he fainted. And Savitri took his head on his lap and waiting. He saw an effulgent being, the god of death, Yama, appeared. And he said, Shottavan is very pure, so I did not send my messenger. So I came by myself to take the soul of Shottavan. He took his pass and took his soul and was about to go. Savitri dropped her husband's head there and followed the god of death. You will know if a person walks 5 steps to a person, that person becomes his friend. You are my friend. And on that basis, due to friendship, I have something to ask you. Oh, tell me. Yama was very pleased. I shall give you one boon. Accept the life of Shottavan. Give this boon so that my father-in-law gets his eyesight granted. Then she followed, "Shabi, now you go." "No, I cannot be separated from my husband." So long dialogue. So he said, "All right, what do you want?" "Let my father-in-law get back his kingdom." "All right, granted." "Third, I want that my father must have 100 children, 100 sons." Granted. "Next, what do you want?" "I want to have 100 sons by Shottavan." "All right, granted." "My goodness, you have given the boon, now we were taking away my husband?" Sometimes gods also make mistakes. The Yama, the god of death, made a big mistake. So he gave the boon. "How can I have children if you are taking away my husband?" She got back the life of Shottavan, and they came back. They got their kingdom, and they have a happy life. And she had 100 sons, and her father got 100 sons. These are the stories, you see. So it is a wonderful dialogue. If you read the questions Savitri was asking Yama was overwhelmed. Anyhow, that is one story. My next story, we are now going to another famous dialogue with the god of death and Nachiketa. This is an immortal story recorded in the Katha Upanishad. Vajasravasa was a sage. He had a son named Nachiketa. And Vajasravasa was performing Vishwajit sacrifice. According to the rule, you will have to sacrifice, renounce everything. What is the result of that sacrifice? Sargo kamo jajita. You will go to heaven. So, what happened? This little boy saw his father was not very sincere. only donating that old Bito Doka Jagdatra Digdodoha Nirindia, all old emaciated cows will never give milk anymore, about to go to the graveyard. So he was donating those cows. He said, no, my father is making mistakes. So to correct his father, he went and asked him, Father, according to the rule of the sacrifice, you are supposed to renounce everything, give away everything. Whom will you give me up? Whom will you give me? 2-3 times he ignored the father. Then he said, Mrittavetu advadamiti, I am giving you to death. Go. Don't disturb me. Then he was thinking, Bahuname me prathamo, bahuname me madhyamo, kimsvid yamasya kartavyam yanmayadya karishyati. I may be among few, I may be one, first, I may be second, but I am not third class. Perhaps Yama may need me. So he was a Shraddha Vivesha, Shraddha, full of faith. As Swamiji always says, Shraddha Vivesha. This kind of deep faith came to his mind, and he went to Yamaloka, the abode of death. Yama was out of town, was not at home. 3 days he stayed there. Nachiketa did not eat, did not drink. The Yama's secretary, when Yama returned, says, a Brahmin full of blazing fire is waiting in that place. Please receive him first. Because if the Brahmin, become angry, you will be in deep trouble. First satisfy that boy. So Yama asked him, who are you and what do you want? Yama says that, all right, 3 days you are with me, I shall give you 3 boons. Tell me the first boon which you want. When I go back, let my father recognize me, and may my father be very kind to me. All right, granted. That means happiness in this world. It's very important. What is the second boon you want? People say about heaven. So tell me about heaven. So Yama explained what heaven is and how to go to heaven. That is, he got the heavenly happiness also. All right, now what is the third question? Here the Upanishad begins. Sreshya preshya manushya me tattau samparikta vibhinapti dhiraha. I shall not tell Sanskrit too much. There is doubt about a man when he is dead. Some say that he exists, others that he does not. This I should like to know, taught by you. This is the third of my boons. Clear, very clear. Yama says even on this subject, even the gods have some doubts. So you ask some other question, some other boons apart from this one. Nachiketa says, no. You are the god of death. You know whole mystery. So I like to know from you. Yama says, choose. Then Yama started to tempt Nachiketa. Shatayurvai putra pautran brinishvam. Have 100 years of life. Sons, grandsons. No, I don't want. Bahun poshun hasti hirannam ashwan. Ask of gold, horses, elephants, whatever you want. I don't want. Choose a vast domain on earth. Live here as many years as you like. I don't want. If you deem another boon to equal, choose it. Choose wealth and a long life. Be the king. I don't want. Whatever desires are difficult to satisfy in this world of mortals, choose them as you wish. These fair heavenly maidens with their chariots, musical instruments, Men cannot obtain them, I give them to you that shall wait upon you. But do not ask about death. Ye je kama durlabha mortaloke. Look at the celestial girls, very beautiful. Nobody, no human being has ever got them. I am giving to you. Tabaiva baha tabognitya giti. Oh Yama, you have your celestial girls, I don't want. Two things please watch. Kamini Kanchan. Yama tempted him, give him love, wealth, and give him beautiful girls. I don't want. Then Yama, Nachiketa, then Yama says, you are the trite student to know about this Atman and the mystery of death. Then the Upanishad began. This Upanishad is so poetic, so beautiful. Shreyasya preshya manushya meta. Shreyo, good. Preyo, pleasant. Both are in front of human beings. You want liberation or you want enjoyment. These are the two paths in front of us. What do you want? Do you want God or do you want enjoyment? God's wealth. Then he went on and talked about things. He talked about the Atman. Many there are who do not even hear of Atman, though hearing of him. Many do not comprehend. Wonderful is the expounder, and rare the hearer. Rare indeed is the experiencer of Atman, taught by an able preceptor. He talked elaborately about this Atman, this Om. Atman is the smaller than the small, greater than the great, is hidden in the hearts of all living creatures. A man who is free from desire beholds the majesty of the self through tranquility of the senses and the mind and becomes free from grief. The Atman cannot be attained by the study of the Vedas or by intelligence or by much hearing of sacred books. It is attained by him alone whom he chooses. To such one, Atman reveals his own form. You know, here we find the germ of devotion in the Upanishad. Yame Vaisha Brinute Tena Labhyo. Whom Atman chooses. Here comes the grace. In the Abhadhuta Gita, the first mantra, Ishvara Anugrahat Pungsam Advaita Vasana. It is the grace of God that human beings get inclined to know about non-dual Brahman. Then Yama says, look, he gets a beautiful simile of the chariot. Here is the chariot. The passenger is the Atman. Buddhi is the charioteer. Mind is the reins. The horses are the senses. And the road. These Buddhi being the relative mind, that is the strength. So this road, this is the sense objects now. So if your horses are disciplined, mind is disciplined, then it will go to a destination. Otherwise there will be an accident. That is a beautiful simile. Then Yama says, let me tell you. Pranchikani Batrinath Sambhu Tasmat Parang Pashyandi Nantratman Kushit Dhira Pratyagatman Amikshat Avrita Chakshu Amritattamichan. God created human beings with outgoing tendencies, but there are some people, they focus, they within and to behold the Atman, which is within us. What is here? The same is there. The same is here. He goes from death to death, who sees differences here. Well, Within Gautama, I shall tell you about this profound and eternal Brahman, and also about what happens to the Atman after meeting death. Some jivas enter the womb for the purpose of new embodiment, and some enter into stationary objects according to the work, according to their knowledge. Then he talked about this Atman. His form is not an object of vision. No one beholds him with the eye. One can know him when he is revealed by the intellect, free from doubt and by constant meditation. Those who know this become immortal. Atman cannot be attained by speech, by the mind, or by the eye. How can it be realized if any other way than by affirmation of him who says, Osti Upalabdhi, Osti. Do you know what? When you experience this Atman, you can feel it exists. It exists. It exists. Osti. That feeling comes, you know. Yes, I am. When all the desires dwell in the heart fall away, then the mortal becomes immortal, and here attains Brahman. Yada sarve pramuchante kama hridayasya smrita. That is a beautiful word. All desires are gone from the heart. Then the mortal becomes immortal. All these mantras are so beautiful. Read Upanishad, Katha Upanishad. When all the ties of the heart are severed here on earth, then the mortal becomes immortal. This much alone is the teaching. The last verse is very beautiful. The Purusha, this Atman, not larger than a thumb, the inner self, always dwells in the hearts of men. Let a man separate him from his body with steadiness, as one separates the tender stalk from a blade of grass. Let him know that the self as the bright, as the immortal, yet as the bright, as the immortal. Munjadikam ishikamiva. Perhaps you have seen in the grass, if in the inner stalk, if you pull it, it will come out. That is the Atman. You can separate it from the body. When you experience the Atman, you transcend the body idea. You transcend death. There is no death for you. That is the message of the Easter. Thank you. त्र्यंबके यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धान् मृत्युर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् याति रुद्रशिवा तनुरघोरा पापकाशिनी तैनस्तनुवा शान्तमया गिरिशान्तविचाकशी. From the Yajurveda. O sweet Lord of transcendental vision, we worship Thee. O giver of prosperity to all, may we be free from bonds of death. Like a ripe fruit dropping from the tree, may we never again forget our immortal nature. O Lord, Thou who blessest all creatures, by revealing the highest wisdom, deign to make us happy by Thy calm and blissful self that roots out terror as well as evil. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Jai Ma.